Hey guys, how you going today? It's Nick here again. So what I'm going to go through today is last time we went through Power Query, we touched on how to amalgamate a Excel file with different data sets in that Excel file into one centralized data set to use. Today, what I'm going to do is we're going to do Power Query with multiple different Excel files with data for each month. So the data set we'll be using today will do January, February, and March. And I'm going to amalgamate that data into one data set so that you know how to do this when you're working in a business. You might be working as an operational analyst, a HR analyst. You might be working in the marketing or the sales team. This is just a really good tool or strategy to use that business analysts use to bring together multiple different data sets into one centralized data set. So we start off here, we go data, get data from file, from Excel workbook. So you can go from folder if you've got it in folder. But for me, what I want to do is I'm going to go supermarket data here. And I'm going to take January 1st. I'm going to go import. And basically, if you go from folder, you can bring all the files from the folder into Power Query and edit that way. But I prefer to go this way and sort of pick the files out that I want because, you know, realistically in the workplace, you'll have a folder and you might have 10, 20 different files that you need to sort of pick and choose from throughout the year. So for this one here, I'm going to go transform data. Okay, cool. All right, so we've gone transform data. So it's the data set here for January. So the January supermarket sales, we're using the same spreadsheet data that we used in the last Power Query tutorial. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to new source. I'm going to go file and I'm going to go Excel workbook. Okay, we're going to go February data. Okay, I'm going to go February. I'm going to go okay. And we've got January and February there in the model. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to append these two queries. So as we can see here, 28 rows and 40 rows. Okay, so a total of 68 rows. Going to go down and we're going to append. Now you can append queries into one. So I could make my February have January's data in it as well, or you can append as new. So appending is new. I just prefer it because so we go two tables, first table Jan, second Feb. Um, I prefer it because it just brings a new data set for January and February amalgamated. So that's how you would amalgamate two data sets. Now, this is a really good tool to do if you've got thousands of rows for each month of business data. If we want to go now and the boss says, yeah, we want February as well because we want quarters for the calendar year, for example, you would go, okay, well, I need to now add in March. So I go over here to new source. So if March wasn't in um, Excel, for example, say you had January, February in Excel and you had March in SQL, you would go down here to database and you would go SQL Server and you connect to the SQL Server. If you're using other sort of tools, you can go from the web, depending on what you're doing. Alternatively, if it's a PDF, if it's really, I don't know what business would use a PDF to store their data, but you know, you can use this same model with tables from a PDF if you like and bring that across. And it just gives you text and CSVs there as well. So it just gives you a few options. So Excel, we go to March. Okay, so March, we're going to go import. All right, so March, and we're going to bring this across. Okay, so now we've got March's data here. So I'm just having a bit of a look through March. It's another 36 rows. Okay, so what we want to do is with this append, which is January, February combined, we want to put that now with March. get January, February, and March data all together. So we can go back down here to append again. We can go append as new. So this one we're going to do append 1, this time with March, because we know that's Jan, Feb combined. That's March. We go OK. So now we've got append 2. Okay, so if we're just looking at the rows here, we've got 104 rows. You don't really need to do this, but I'd do it with smaller data sets, just as good practice, I guess. So 28 rows for Jan. We've got 40 there, so 68. And then we've got another 36 there, so 74 on 74 with 6 over from that. And then plus, what was that? Sorry, it was a 40, yeah, 68 and 36. So 74, 104, 104. There we go. Beautiful. All right. So that's that there. If we want to use other sort of Power Query um, tools, we can come up here. We can use DAX functions if we want to clean up the data set a little bit more. This data set's already being cleaned in Excel, so there's not really too much I need to do here. If I'm just having a bit of a look through this, gross income, for example, the column is incorrect. That needs to change, and we want to change that to potentially currency. So that way, you know what it is, cost of goods sold. You go up here and you would go a currency as well. Okay, so you can see the dollar values here. So that's just something that you kind of want to do. Gross margin percentage, I would change that to currency as well. Okay, and then you just sort of work your way through. So there's plenty of cool things you can do here in Power Query. If you want to have a bit of a look at the distribution of the columns, you come over here to view. We can look at the column quality, column profile, column distribution. So we can see here there's no errors in these particular columns. You can see what the average is. So it's not a bad way when you're looking at cleaning a raw based data set that's straight out of the software or a SQL server, and you're not sure what you need to clean up to automate the cleaning process in data analytics or data science. Coming into Power Query and using this business intelligence tool just allows you to clean up data quite quickly and bring it into Excel and draw up a model. Power BI already has Power Query built in. So if you're just going Microsoft SQL Server and you have a database in your business and you want to pull data from that database, clean it with Power Query and put it into Excel for a model, this is the tool that you would use to do that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go close and load. Cool. All right. So we can see here that we've got append 2, which is the 104 rows. So I can just delete all this down the bottom here now. So this is Jan, or for first calendar quarter, I'll call it. So calendar quarter. Okay. Quarter 1, that should be calendar quarter 1. I don't know what business does a calendar quarter 1, but just for the sake of the explanation, that's what it's going to be today. So got our 104 rows there. We can see the months here. So month 1 represents January. Month 2 represents Feb, and month 3 represents March there. Okay, so that is basically how you would do it. Alternatively, you could do VStack. Now, probably wouldn't do this because it's just not as efficient, but to do a VStack, you would go equals VStack here, and then we're looking at array. Okay, so I'm just going to do January, February just to show you guys how it's done. Okay, so Control Shift down, Control Shift across. Okay, and then we're going to go a comma up here, and then we're going to go over to Feb. Now, I'm not going to highlight the top because that'll give me a row that I don't want. We're going to go down. Okay, and then I'm going to go here, close parentheses, bang. Okay, so that's sort of how you would do it if you're going to VStack two data types there. And then, if you want to go and filter it, you can do that, or chuck on a filter and then filter through for each sort of month here for January, February, and have a bit of a look. Now, that might work okay with a smaller data set, but as I mentioned in the last video, it's not going to be very efficient when you're working with data sets where there's hundreds or thousands of rows and you're looking to amalgamate. Vstack can be a little bit clunky. So Power Query is just a little bit better. It's a good business intelligence tool you can use to automate processes in your business. If you like this video, guys, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and I look forward to catching you in the next video. Cheers.